Yeah.
Hey, all right, here we are, Ward Wrestling Live. We are back with Gray Maynard, an MMA legend, two-time high school state wrestling champ, three-time NCAA All-American, blue belt in jiu-jitsu, spent time in the UFC. I believe he's still in the UFC, coaching, fighting, doing all that stuff. And follow him on Instagram. Hit him up on Instagram. He's giving away some signed cool stuff for followers. So hit him up on Instagram. We're here with Gray Maynard, man. Hey, what's up, buddy? Thanks so much for coming. We do appreciate this. Sorry for the hiccup.
No problem. Yeah, and then if you follow me on Instagram, there's a lot of good, just health tips, eating tips, food, just biohacks. Try to get it out there. Try to keep these kids as young as possible and keep them competing as long as they can.
And great news, it's working. We can see you.
Good.
You on our thing, so we're good to go. Hey, so first things first, I got Chase Pammy coming up next. He told me to make sure that I let you know that. And I asked you, what was it like coaching him?
Chase Pammy, you get a kid where he's special, and I came back to Nevada because I competed here for a while, and then I left to go to Ohio St. Ed's just because I wanted to test myself against the best. I didn't feel like there was a lot of potential to go Big Ten here, to get a scholarship, and came back after college to coach a couple kids, to coach the teams. It's called Cimarron, but there was great coaches there, but there was really good kids too. And Chase Pammy just kind of stuck out the way he moved, his work ethic. He was, it's cool because he's a homebred kid, and he did it, all the way through here, and he had a great career, and he's going to come back here and he's going to pass on that knowledge, and hopefully
up a wrestling club, and that'll be fun to talk about next.
Gold Rush.
Yeah. So typically, Gray, I have to come up with my own questions, but when I announced that you're coming on, I got inundated, so I wrote them all down, and I figured I'd just go through them. So we spoke about COVID a little bit. I know that we all know what's going on there. We're coming out the other side of it. Everybody's but it seems like gyms are starting to open up again out there as well.
Yeah. It's everything closed down around here. My wife kept working. She was the what's that called? The essential. Yeah.
Essential.
So, yep. So I stayed home with the kids, and we're not going bye-bye, buddy. Not for a while. But we're I just kind of stayed home, and this was the first kind of opportunity I've had in years to be home all the time and to have the kids drive me nuts. So they did a good job. I think we both survived it, and we're good. We're ready to go. Ready to go. Yeah.
It's great to see. We see the ferocious side of you when you're in the gym or in the ring, and then we see the side of you being daddy.
Oh yeah, it's fun, man. The kids are. Hey, look, I'm doing something right now.
Hey, what's up, man?
That's not Uncle Travis. Here, let's go watch the movie. Let's go watch Dinosaur Train. That's my life now, right?
Yeah, Dinosaur Train. I like it.
Dinosaur Train. He loves dinosaurs.
That's awesome. So, hey, so let's start these questions. The first one I have is, why do athletes with wrestling backgrounds do so well at MMA?
So I don't think it's just MMA. I think it's anything you go into. You go on to Wall Street, those guys will get up earlier, work later. They put the work ethic in. We were talking about it a little bit before. I think every kid should get into the sport, because you're not dealing with teams. You're dealing with what you put in is what you get out. And you're dealing with confidence, in yourself. A lot of kids, you put them on a good team and their confidence is, sky high, but you put them alone walking on a mat, they start to understand this is real, like this is up to me. And that's when you get those questions, you start understanding confidence is in the preparation. And yeah, so
That's awesome. Yeah, I like it. And on the other side of that, how has wrestling evolved as a result of MMA?
I'm starting to see a lot more. Scrambling was getting pretty big when I was in high school-ish, college. It started getting really technical, the scrambling aspect. But now you're getting kids who are crossing over a little bit, doing jujitsu, doing a little gi jujitsu, no gi, and they're starting to understand that there's endless possibilities with wrestling, and the scrambles, and not being so paranoid about going to your back, for 2 seconds, and rolling people through, and just understanding that there's more to it than traditional wrestling. Keep off your back, takedowns.
Yeah, and I said that too. I talked to some people that have been in both worlds, and I say that a jujitsu coach will say, "Man, he was a wrestler or she was a wrestler. Oh, okay, cool. 50% of my job is already done." But
Yeah.
a wrestling coach will be like, "Oh, he did jujitsu. I got to teach him to do every technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they did it, but because of jujitsu, you go to your back. That's your safe place. You protect yourself. You go to your back and that's I know.
Yeah. No, you got to use it though. You gotta take it, and you got to use it. Obviously, with high risk comes high reward. And just I'm starting to see a lot more just with my game. Just kind of hold on. Just with my game, it was helped a lot with my hips, helped a lot with taking the chances of going across my back, and but still coming out on top, and kind of narrowing down what works for you, and using it.
That's awesome. Hey, so you and Edgar going to run it back every weekend?
I don't know, man. He's dropping down to 135. Maybe we could meet at 145.
Nice, yeah. I guess this is the. Have you guys said that? That's what someone said. Someone said, "Hey, ask him about if you and Edgar would ever run it back." And then, kind of like we saw the relationship on the boxing side that became from Gotti Ward. They became amazing friends. Ward talked to the serial. How close has the trilogy of you two guys?
He's a respectful. He's a respectful guy. Great family guy. Just all around one of like the most upstanding competitors who I've ever competed against or even been around. And he's just we always talk, you know, if he's around. You know, he's definitely a guy who I'd just go have a beer with, you know.
It's not like what was it, like Rocky 2 or something, where Rocky and Apollo go into the gym by themselves and be like, one more time, give me that shot.
Yeah.
Secretly going
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a great guy, you know, and you know, I'm glad that we shared an octagon for a long time.
That's awesome. So somebody said here, is there anyone out there right now that you would be like, no way, I'm not fighting that guy?
No, there's nobody like that. You know, once you get to once you start to understand like what people can do and how what you can do, your own human body can do, your mind can do when you're put into a spot to where everybody else is hyping up this guy. Oh, he's the greatest. He hits so hard, you know, and that brings the best out of like a competitor, you know, and that's what we like. And there's been a ton of people that have come up and have got the hype, but there's always somebody to beat anybody, you know, especially
In this
you know,
sport.
yeah, especially another human being. I'm not going up against a lion. I'm going up against another man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
And there's weight, you know, it's not like you're going to put you up against a 285 guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, and
you fight that guy either. But
yeah, yeah.
But so someone said here, hey, Ngannou trains in your gym. How hard does that guy really hit? When
He hits hard. Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's hard to get him sparring partners. You know, he's definitely, you know, an athlete. You know, he's an athlete. You know, he breaks a lot of the, because at the USCPI, they do a lot of the testing, you know, and he scores pretty high on all of them, you know, the power testing, the speed testing, you know, and he's a heavyweight.
Have you seen those little videos of him and Ryan Garcia?
Yeah. I saw a couple of them. Yeah, but
he's way faster than him.
Yeah, he definitely has power. You know, there's no doubt about that.
I guess he's the guy on everybody's mind these days, huh? Fans wise.
I guess so. You know, I guess that's what kind of why the heavyweights get paid is because people like to see big guys hit each other.
Yeah, you know, I like to watch the smaller guys wrestle because it's a match to me. But it's true. Anytime there's like a big heavyweight match leading up to the main event, I'm kind of excited because I know the main event's coming soon because this 3 rounds, somebody's about to.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing about heavyweights is if they catch each other right, you know, anybody's going down. You know,
it's crazy. And you don't even like, obviously now we actually hear the sounds because there's no fans out there.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing like the impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
That had to hurt.
Yeah. You know, shoot, even there was a couple times I was a couple rows back, you know, and you can hear the hits. Yeah. It's no joke, man.
So somebody asked your most memorable match in college.
I would say there's probably a couple. One was at Big Ten's my freshman year. Me and Luke Becker were going at it pretty good. He ended up beating me in overtime. It was a really good match. That might have been the semis, quarters or semis. And then one year, like at the NCAAs, I was wrestling Matt Anderson out of Iowa. And it was in Iowa. I'm pretty sure it was in Iowa. And he was up like 7-4. And with like 10 seconds, I hit an inside trip on him to his back, I think.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So the Oklahoma State crowd went nuts. But yeah, it was a good match, you know, but it was just when, you know, if you have a good match, like in a dual meet, which there's probably lots of them, it's cool. But then once you get to Big Tens, you get to NCAAs, it's just, you know, it's electric, you know, and you can kind of feel the crowd, and you can feel just, you know, the appreciation of a good match.
Hey, I gotta. So tell me, how good was Nick Simmons?
Nick Simmons was good. You know, he just had a lot of stuff, and that's kind of what I would. It's kind of like a blend with jiu-jitsu and wrestling, right? That's a great idea of like what people can do, you know. And Nick, you know, he was a beast, and he was confident, you know, and that you know, that'll make a lot of moves work that shouldn't work, you know, is just having that confidence in yourself and confidence in your style. And I think the problem with wrestling, well, not the problem, but the good wrestlers start understanding themselves, their styles, what they do best, what they don't do best, and they're honest, you know, and they believe in that. And you know, I really feel like there's a lot of coaching that doesn't give, you know, athletes, especially with wrestling and MMA, don't give athletes, you know, an opportunity to start understanding what they're good at. You know, it's always like, no, this is what I like. This is what I do, you know, and you're going to drill this, and I'm going to teach you this move, and I'm going to teach you that move. You know, for me, like, I think it's more about helping guide people to what they're good at, just because this isn't a team sport. This isn't, you know, an A plus B equals like C. It's equations all over the place, and different body types, different mind frames, different speed, you know. So like, I really feel like, you know, Nick was good because he believed in what he did, you know, and he knew what he did well, and he knew what he didn't do well.
Yeah, he was
That was
awesome.
a tangent. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, he was awesome to talk to. You could
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
it. And it's funny, he had his son and daughter running around too. It was
yeah,
he was
yeah.
in
Kids are nuts.
there in the room. It's awesome. But hey, so somebody says, talk about that MSU team. Ask him about the studs on that MSU team. They were loaded.
Yeah. So my last year, we were competing for a Big Ten championship. You know, we lost a couple good guys. Chris Williams the year before. The year before that, Pat McNamara, who was a 3-time All-American. So we were kind of going into the year. It was my senior year, and you know, we had a good team in the room, and we just didn't know how good it was going to be. And so we had Rashad Evans, Simmons, you know, Faketi, Alisanian. There was just a bunch of tough, you know, a whole bunch of tough guys. And we really put it together for a good part of, you know, our year. And we were beating people in dual meets. We were beating Oklahoma State. We were beating Iowa. We were beating the U of M. We beat everybody in a dual meet other than Illinois. And that was towards the end of the year. And, you know, I just didn't understand like why that was happening. And, you know, college is really about peaking at the right time, you know, and I feel like we peaked too early, and, you know, we could have done a lot better at NCAAs, but, you know, Rashad Evans, he beat Greg Jones right in round 1 of the NCAAs. I'm pretty sure it was that year, you know, but yeah.
Pretty good career, didn't he?
Yeah, right? Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I like listening to him on commentating now, talking about Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. So someone said here, and I know you and I talked about it a little bit, I think off the air. I don't know, we tried to get on the air twice before we finally made it, but somebody asked about your transition from Vegas to St. Ed's, and they said, talk about the difference in wrestling, maybe how difficult it was to transition from Vegas wrestling to St. Ed's, which is one of our top.
Yeah. You know, I really wanted to challenge. You know, I wanted to go test myself, you know, against the best guys week in, week out. Because, you know, I was back here reading, you know, news about you know, all the best dual meets, you know, the Walsh Jesuit dual meets, the Blair Academies, the, you know, St. Ed's. And you know, I wanted that. Like, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to go up against all that competition. So, you know, I made a deal with my dad before 10th grade. He said, you know, if you get good grades, you you know, you take state pretty easy, and you know, we'll talk about it. And so I ended up taking state, you know, beat the state championship the state champion at 145, took state at 130, didn't get taken down all year, you know, so it was really, you know, a kick in the butt. Like, I want this, you know, I'm gonna prove to my dad. So I moved out there, and you think like you're going out there, like, as a person who kind of looks up to all these schools, and like, all right, yeah, you look for like a secret. You're expecting a secret, but there was no secret. There was just work ethic, right? And basics. I mean, we drilled basics for hours in the St. Ed's wrestling room. And we drilled and we drilled. We didn't drill till we get it right. We drilled till we can't get it wrong. And you know, Coach Heff, Coach Urbis, they you know, they were big on that, and we wrestled matches. There wasn't really a lot of you know, special stuff. It was just get in there and drill until you're bored, and then you keep drilling until you're even more bored, you know. But
is that where
and then you wrestle live.
Is that where the Palmer boys went?
Yep, Palmer's. You know, I mean, you could probably go through that school and just, you know, I mean, it's a who's who. You got Alan Freed, you got Chandler, you got Olinsky. I mean, you got the Heffernans, you got Bertine. I mean, there's just we've had an NCAA All-American for over 30 years in a row now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Every year.
That's awesome. I think isn't Colin back coaching?
Yeah, Colin's in Ohio, I think.
Yeah. That's cool. I talked to him early on in this process when I started these shows. I reached out to him because I had remembered he was at the club that my kid was wrestling in last offseason. And
yeah.
Wrestles in. And I had, so I reached out to him, like, hey, and I sent a picture of my son. I'm like, hey, I met you at the club. Were you on? He's like, oh, yeah, I'll come on. Like, cool. And he's home right now. So,
Nice.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you talk to any of those Ohio guys, they'll tell you he was a badass too at wrestling.
Yeah. So when I went to St. Ed's, his dad used to bring the boys up there, Lance and Colin. You know, so everybody talks about yeah, do you know Colin? You know Colin and Lance? I was like, yeah, they were kids when I was in high school, and I used to help them out, wrestle, you know, just kind of roll a little bit with them, and you know, just really great kids and great guys now too that really put it together, you know, and just know how to train and know how to you know, now the most important is just passing on the sport, right? Passing what you learned in college, you know, on to kids who want to do even better.
That's awesome. People are sending questions. So the Morgan brothers, Charlie and I had David on yesterday. They're like, hey, another MSU great, because they were
Yeah.
and then Coach Imbriani over at, I think he's at Edgewater, I believe. He said, hey Dan, I was hoping Gray had some great war stories with Crosstown, Cleveland rival Maple Heights, previously coached by the entire Milkovich family for decades. Wrestling was always very tough in that area of Ohio. St. Ed's was truly a tremendous program for decades. Coach Howard Ferguson was legendary and very generous to all teams. Just thought it would be interesting to hear about those days.
Yeah, so I grew up in Ohio a little bit. Yeah, my dad, he was a 2-time state champion out of Cleveland South. That's when Maple Heights was at its, you know, prime, you know, for a long time. But during that time too, and you know, everybody knows about, you know, all those guys. You got the Milkoviches. I mean, and you know, it was just a tough school, tough eras, and they're really one of the schools that created a dynasty first, you know, in Ohio, and you know, hats off to them. They're you know, that, you know, it was unbelievable. Yeah, and my dad talks about them all the time, or he did. He passed away a couple months ago, but you know, he was just a huge advocate, you know, and you know, he loved that school. I only got a chance to wrestle one of the Maple Heights kids in it was a district finals, I think. It was on a meat grinder, it's called, and competed against him. It didn't go too well for him. It was a tech and a pin.
Yeah, someone said Shane McCall said here that you were on The Ultimate Fighter with another Florida great and Springstead legend, Corey
Who? Who is it?
Corey Hill.
Oh yeah, Corey Hill. Yeah. Oh man, it. Hold on. Let me try to fix this. No. There you go, buddy. Hey. Yeah, Corey Hill was on my TV show. He passed away as well, man. That was devastating. He was a really, really good guy, had a lot of potential. He was like 6'4" and fought 155. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he was actually one of the nicest guys, man.
That's awesome. Hey, so
yeah, he'll be missed.
I do a 10-question thing where
Yep.
I do certain things about. I know we're going into UFC 250, so I kind of make my 10 questions about the main cards. There's 9 fights, so I'll kind of
okay.
I know you're highly involved in all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the first thing I wanted to ask you was, the last thing I want to ask you is your most memorable time in the octagon. I know you had the trilogy with Edgar, and you had the Nate Diaz fights.
Yeah.
Those two got to imagine were pretty awesome. But what's your most memorable time or memorable match in the octagon?
Geez, they're all pretty memorable. But just to bring it back to Diaz, it was a different type of just kind of being memorable is he talked like the whole fight, and he would just and it was kind of fun. It was kind of a little bit different, but he talked the whole fight, and obviously going for the belt, that was cool. Beating Kenny Florian in Boston was pretty cool. Let's see, what else?
I remember he was one of those guys they spoke about a lot, man. Kenny Florian,
Yeah,
doing big things. The Diaz brothers, man, they live by their own. They live by their own thing, whatever, man. But I think Nate became everybody's. I think everybody fell in love with him.
Yeah. So I was doing an interview I think last week, and I think the Diaz's are going to be the most remembered MMA guys like in history. Once we go, fast forward 20 years, I think they will be more remembered than even Connor, and the reason is Diaz stood up for what they wanted, what they believed in, they didn't care about the UFC. They didn't care about Dana. They did what they wanted, and they did it the way they wanted, and they didn't get, kind of pigeonholed in that, like, you just keep your mouth shut and compete. They spoke out, whereas, Connor isn't really like that. He's just about the money, and he's a good fighter, but there's a lot of good fighters, and Ali was a great fighter too, but he also stood up for every, stuff he believed in. And he stood up for countries. He stood up for a race. He stood up for, a lot of different stuff. And there's a lot of good boxers, a lot of great boxers, but he's the one that got remembered because he did that.
That's awesome. Yeah, they've, obviously, I remember them coming on. You always remember talk and stuff. I remember seeing the Nick fights before he was even in the UFC.
Yeah.
And that other, I forget what it was. I never seen it. Just it'd be
yeah.
Like when we were kids growing up and seeing Friday Night Boxing on ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah, we were on the TV show when me and Nate were on the TV show when his brother fought Takanori Gomi, when Takanori was like unbeatable, and he beat him. And it was pretty cool to watch his kind of expressions, as he's waiting because we couldn't watch TV or nothing. And so he was kind of pacing around a little bit, but he knew his brother was going to win, but it was kind of cool to watch him.
Yeah.
Just
the one thing that made it different was I think Connor had a way of winning the fight before the fight.
Yeah.
Getting into someone's head, and when you're going against a Diaz brother, you can talk all the shit you want.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, whatever. We're gonna have to fight like Tyson.
Yeah.
You got a plan until I punch you in the face.
Yeah. And that's one thing, about, Nate or Nick is, you're going to get a fight. If you're fighting them, you better have cardio, you better be able to take a punch, and you better be able to give a punch. And give multiple punches because you can't knock them out with just one.
Yeah, they're gonna bring it, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So we got the 250 coming up. I
Yep.
don't know if you have any fighters out there this weekend. I know that tends to tell me when you've got some fighters on the card. But so what I did was I put down the 10 questions, the prelim, and then the main event. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Bird versus DiTolo.
Don't know who they are.
Yeah, neither did John Fitch. Stammen versus Kelleher.
Stammen trains at our gym. He's out of Detroit area. You know, tough kid, man. And he's kind of coming into that spot to where he's believing in his skills. He's believing in everything he does. And, he's got that confidence. So I'm going to take him.
Take your guy, right? All right.
Yeah.
Heinisch or Burchard?
No idea.
Yeah, and I'm probably fucking his name up. Caceres or Hooper?
No idea.
Caceres is that the guy.
Oh yeah, the Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
Who's he fighting?
Hooper.
The
kid's name is Chase Hooper.
Okay. I don't know, because he's kind of hit or miss. You know, he looks good one fight, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
So
Pitch said the same thing. He wins, he loses, he wins, he loses.
Yeah, I'll say Caceres just because he's been around a while.
All right, now we get into the main card. The five. The first match is Wyman and O'Malley.
Oh yeah, that O'Malley kid. He's pretty tough, man. He's a goer. We'll take him.
Next one is Maggie or Rocco Martin.
Huh.
I'm totally messing up his names. Probably.
Let's go Rocco Martin. That's a cool name.
Magny. Okay, Magny.
Magny. Oh, yeah. Neil Magny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Neil Magny.
Yeah.
He's a stud, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Sterling or Sandhagen?
Sterling.
Here's a good one. Suncow or Garbrandt?
Ooh. Garbrandt is coming off 3 losses, right?
I
can't remember if he won his last one. But
I guess if they're on their feet, Garbrandt, but if it goes down, maybe a Suncow.
Yeah. Yeah, I coached Garbrandt at it was a clinic when I was in Ohio, and he was just coming up, and it was cool because we kept in touch a little bit, and then he came out, he's a champ. Or he was a champ, and it was cool to watch him come up.
I remember him on the show when he was the one that stood up and he was an athlete on the show. He wasn't a coach. He was a new kid coming up. And Connor called him out. He jumped up and pushed him like, I'll fight you right now.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
All right, so this main event is dope. Nunes and Spencer.
Nunes and Spencer?
Yeah.
I got to go Nunes.
She's a beast, right?
She is a beast.
Yeah. So who do you think's fight of the night?
Fight of the night would probably be I don't know. Probably that Magny.
Fight of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, they might.
I got a question. I did these as the 10 questions because it just seemed like something cool to do with 2 MMA guys. kind of talking with the fight. It's funny to hear like your answers. Like you guys are fighters, not fans. So like, if I was a fan these things, they'd be like, "Oh my god, that guy was 4-7."
Yeah.
But you guys are like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just know, I mean, there's a couple to where like, yeah, that'll be a good fight or whatever, or it's just whoever applies their game plan, whoever applies their game plan the best, and it's hard to call fights, especially just how many ways people can get caught these days, so.
Yeah, well, hey, so you talked about before we go, you talked about some of these like, really cool experiences you had. You fought for the belt, right?
Right.
You also fought on the highest NCAA level.
Right.
The experience of walking into NCAAs or the experience of walking into championship fight night?
Oh man, the NCAAs are really cool because you only get 4 of them, 4 years of it, and that, right? And each year you don't win it, you just know that next year you got to change it up to whereas like a belt, you feel like you can always get back there if you lose it or if you don't get it. And don't get me wrong, it's a great atmosphere, and anytime you get to do it, it's going to be pretty memorable. But just the NCAAs, it kind of feels like a bubble. You're in this like crazy bubble. It's not worldwide. It's just this packed stadium, and you're still in college, and it's just everybody's here because everybody loves wrestling.
Yeah, that's got to be a real. I mean, I've talked to people that have went there as fans, and I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet.
Yeah.
But they'll talk about it as a fan, going, "Man, one of the greatest events I've ever been to." And not just when the wrestling starts. I've talked to people who said they got to the NCAA hours before the event even started, just to sit in there and watch these athletes practice.
Yeah.
Man, how is that guy even going to have the ability to go in a match when he's working that hard in practice?
Yeah.
It's just amazing to watch these athletes.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
One of the coolest times I had as a spectator was when Kale won it, his last year. 4 times undefeated, and just like everybody was just there like, wow, we're here for this, and he was graceful about it. He was just one of those like athletes that just really kind of like you were in awe, at what he did and how he acted about it.
That's cool, man. Hey, so this has been an absolute honor to have the opportunity to have you on my show. It's been incredible.
Yeah.
I appreciate Scott for and getting my information. Everything went down. Super dope. So
yeah, you're doing a good job, and you're spreading the word about our sport, and that's more important than that's the most important, right? Is getting the word out there, because you got all these people that love MMA and don't know about wrestling yet, or or just people that don't know about like wrestling, and we're starting to get better at getting it out there. For a long time, I felt like we kept it as like our little secret. Let's not let people in here, you know. But now people are starting to understand how great our sport is, you know.
That's what
And
I always say is I feel like it's this big mafia that no one knows about, and then when you get involved in it, you're like, I want everybody here. And I think what I've learned over the last get involved in it is like, you have a kid that is going through whatever they're going through as a young man, you don't need doctors, you don't need psychiatrists, you don't need to put them on medication. That medicine could be the wrestling room. Take them into a wrestling room and all that stuff, and they'll go away. I promise you.
yes, that and you know, they'll start to understand how life works too. You know, like what you put in is what you get out. You know, I got to coach like Easton Tobiah for a little bit. You know, and we worked. He would fly out here one night and fly back the next couple nights and you know, just put everything he had into it. And it was I was really glad to watch him get that payoff, right? To understand, like, in life, you know, if you work and you stay focused and you keep that dream, you know, you can get it. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but you know, on to the next dream. But it happened for him, you know, and that's what kids have to see, and that's what kids have to learn, that's life, you know, and there's no better sport to teach you.
D1 college.
Yeah, there's no better sport to teach you that, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, again, I appreciate you. My page is Ward Wrestling Live, so please go on and share the video with your platform so everybody can see it. And then if you share it, great, thank you. If you don't share it, great.
Yeah, no, I will, of course.
Of course. To his Instagram, I believe. If you friend Gray Maynard, he's gonna give away a couple of autographed shirts, I think, or whatever you're giving away.
Yeah, we'll pick somebody out. We'll pick a couple people out.
Awesome. All right, great, man. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say what's up to Chase Pam before you at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, my man.
All right. You take care, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep. Have a good one.